Hello, welcome back. If you're a returning subscriber to the channel 1111 Oracle, and if you're not, welcome for the first time. Today's reading is going to be a channeled reading. So unless I feel called to draw some cards, I'm not going to use any. I'm just going to channel directly from source. One of my abilities is channeling, my ability to channel. So often even in my pick a card readings or oracle readings, I'm not just looking at the cards, I'm doing more of a psychic channeling message that I'm bringing to you. We all have different gifts. If you're interested in finding out what yours are and developing yours further, I will be posting one video every week about a different topic that covers the different psychic abilities, how to recognize them in yourself, and then how to further develop them. So watch out for that. That's coming later on this week. The next video, I think I need to do one about how to set your boundaries in psychic protection. We mentioned the protection thing a little bit in the clairvoyant video that I did. So if you want to take a look at that, and if you're needing some protection for whatever reason, go look at that video, because I do mention something that you can say and a couple of things that you can do. But if you want to look at a full video on protection and all that good stuff, then keep your eye out for another video coming your way all about that. Okay, so let's get into the readings. Now, before I do, just want to draw your attention to a special promo that I'm doing with information in the description. If you're looking for a one-on-one reading, you can get a 50% off, 50% off any reading or service. If that interests you, take a look at the description for a little bit more details on how that works. And if you just have a quick question, I'm also charging $1 a question. You can ask how many questions you want, down to one. And then you just email me. This is all through email interaction for the $1 question reading. The personalized reading is through Zoom. All right. Okie dokie. So let's get into it now. This is all about your past lives. Now, I don't have options, physical options that you can see in this video this time. So this is what you'll need to do. Now, if you feel drawn to the title of one of these songs, and you don't feel like you need to listen to the song, no worries, that's fine. But I encourage you to maybe listen to the song afterwards, because, you know, I love this music that I chose, and I just love sharing good music with other people. So if you want, you can pause the video, go down in the description, look at the timestamps, and next to each timestamp, there will be a song. There are 6 choices. You don't have to listen to the whole song. Just listen to a few minutes just to get a feel for it, and then choose the song, okay, the option that you feel most drawn to and most pulled to. Now, if all you need is a title, or all you need is just to look at a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then just choose the title or number that you feel most drawn to. But then again, listen to the music. It's amazing. Okay. The first choice, I'm just going to read them out loud as well as you maybe take a look at the description. Number 1 is House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. I personally cannot stop listening to this. I'm not sure why. It just randomly popped into my head one day, and I needed to listen to the song. And now I can't stop listening to the song, but it's all good because I love it. All right. Number 2 Winter by Vivaldi. All right, some people even say that Vivaldi was the precursor to heavy metal, which is interesting. And if you listen to his classical music, then you might understand why, especially with Winter. Okay, third choice is Gotta Get Up by Harry Nilsson, and they showcased this song in one of my favorite Netflix shows that I highly recommend, with one of my favorite actresses, Natasha Lyonne, and the series is called Russian Dolls. It's a masterpiece. It's so good. It's so well done. I highly recommend it. I might watch it again. All right, number 4, we have just some Koshi bells with Calm Whale. They're a great channel if you want to relax and if you want some more meditative type music, okay? Number 5, this is absolutely breathtaking. Inuit throat singing. So that's choice number 5. Number 6 is from Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil is Cirque, right? People call it Cirque sometimes. I'll say it with an English accent so a bunch of you can understand. Cirque du Soleil, but it's really Cirque du Soleil, and they're from Montreal. And this show that the soundtrack I put was for the show Verakai, and gorgeous. All of the music here I think is gorgeous. Make your choice and meet me right back here. Well, hello, number 1. How are you today? House of the Rising Sun. Nice choice, but I'm biased because I can't stop listening to the song. So, if this song is speaking to your soul right now, let's dive in, dig deep. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Let's get into it. Let's see what your past life. Now, we have many past lives. I want to start off by saying that we're going to be looking at possibly one past life in particular. But that being said, a few more may pop out. Now, what I'm getting right away with you, if you chose number 1 with House of the Rising Sun, I'm getting right away that you might possibly have a lot of 8th house action in your chart. 8th. The house of Scorpio, some may call it, if you go by the whole signs chart, which I do. In birth charts, there are different charts. I go by whole signs. I like that one the best. That's just me. Anyhow, 8th house. What is the 8th house? What is Scorpio all about? You may have a north node, or sorry, you could have a north node in Scorpio or the 8th house, but you also might have a south node in Scorpio in the 8th house. Let me talk about that for a moment. It can go either way, actually. It can also work with a south node in Taurus. Now, if you don't know anything about astrology, don't worry about it. I may do videos in the future about astrology, especially if this is one of your intuitive gifts, the gift of being able to understand and analyze. And I'm getting right away, this group, you guys are very analytical. You're very intelligent, intellectual people. You can look at a crowd of people and analyze, who's who, what's what, where's, the relationship between the people, their backstory. You can get a lot just from looking at a crowd just for a few seconds. You get into a room and you can feel the vibe. You're possibly a very strong empath as well, but not only are you an empath, you're also highly intellectual, and you're able to, analyze a situation. People may not realize that there's a lot going on in your head. You may come off very differently. You may come off very quiet, or you may come off kind of bubbly and goofy on the outside even, but in the inside, in that gorgeous noggin of yours, there is a lot of depth and a lot of interesting complexities. Someone might be able to write a book about you. You have so many interesting theories that you don't share with other people, and there's a reason for this. You may not share very often, or be very selective about what you share. Let's get to the juice of it, right? Because you're like, hello, lady, I want to know what my past life was about. Yes, yes. I'm getting there. I just need to give you a little bit of an introduction. So, like I was saying, what does that mean, the whole Scorpio thing? What is the House of Scorpio about? And this is just your prelude to explain what kind of a lifetime you have had in the past or lifetimes. Now, Scorpio is a dark house, or sorry, it's dark sign, mystical sign, intense. It can be on the positive end, very deep, 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 soulful, psychic, spiritual connections. Okay, telepathy, just like interwoven souls type of thing. The concept of twin flames also can come out of the eighth house, or to do with Scorpio, because we have Scorpio is all about just deep interwoven connections, whether forced or not. Obviously not would be good, but sometimes, unfortunately, those deep interwoven connections are forced. So you have really dark topics that come out of Scorpio in the eighth house. You have things like, okay, first of all, psychics. When we talk about psychics in general, yes, we can talk about the house of Pisces or the 12th house, but a lot of times we have more of a focus on Scorpio for psychics and mediumship, ghosts, paranormal activity, drugs, psychedelics, violence, control, any kind of control issues or control dynamics. We can chalk that up to the Scorpio or the eighth house. As well as, there's a good size and there's bad size. I guess why I'm focusing on more the negative, and of course we have, sorry, just to add that to that, you may not like this as much, or I don't know how you feel about it, but we also have, prostitution and that kind of thing, very linked to Scorpio in the eighth house. And why I'm mentioning all of these things in conjunction to the song that you chose is because in a past life you haven't had it easy, all right? And I can relate. I actually have my South Node in Scorpio, so I'm going to pay attention to this reading and see what comes up here, and if any of it relates to me as well, because the house of having your North Node in Scorpio could imply that you've had a lot of lifetimes that were, and especially the last lifetime that you're coming from, that were difficult in the sense that there were power struggles. You were an advisor, or you weren't the person in the spotlight. You weren't allowed to be in the spotlight. So what's coming to mind in particular for you, though, is that you were some kind of, not that, so you were a performer, but not necessarily in the traditional sense when you think of performer, but whatever you had to do, it's almost, you had to do it. You had to perform for others. You didn't necessarily want to. So in this lifetime, you may find that you have a fascination with the arts, and yet at the same time it's almost like you're trying to run away from the arts, because in the past lifetime you had to perform, and you almost felt like a lot of times like a monkey on display, at a circus. You had to, and it's interesting because I did mention that you might be goofy on the outside. This is all very much learnt from your past lifetime, where you just kind of had to be, you had to be fun, and you had to be entertaining for other people to draw them in to everything you did and everything you were, and every way you acted was for other people. And people get surprised that there are so many comedians who suffer from depression. I don't see why people should be that surprised. I mean, if you're going to spend your lifetime entertaining other people and you have very little breath for yourself, people don't actually get to know the real you. They don't get to know that, maybe there's something deeper part of you, of your soul. Yet when you try to express that, perhaps people get too scared. So you instead put on this more lighthearted, clownish attitude. Now, that may or may not apply to you, of course. But what I do see is, in your past lifetime, you're some kind of a performer. Whether it was literally in a circus or, and this is a general reading, so people tuning in, you also have to take what I say and apply it to your own circumstance. Because some people could be in a circus, but that's not everyone. For sure, that's not everyone here. For some people, it could just be that you were in a very sort of rich household. You grew up in a certain higher, upper class where you couldn't express yourself as freely as you would if you were in a lower class, paradoxically. And so you often longed for freedom, you longed to escape, you felt like maybe you were a young lady in possibly, a European country in the 1800s. I'm getting 1700s for some of you, and you're really almost like confined to one location. It could, so I feel the sense of confinement, whether it was you were always with the circus and you had to stay there, or whether it was you were always in this house and you had to stay there. Maybe, like I said, you were a young woman, and young women in the 1800s, in this sort of society in Europe, well, they weren't really allowed to be themselves, okay? You had to put on a show when the guests came. You had to smile, and you had to be pleasant, and you had to be lovely, and you had to learn how to play the piano. And, for instance, people would come over, and suitors would come over, and or guests would come over. And let's say you were in a bad mood. Let's say you just wanted to go to your room and, people do today, or even kids do today when you think of teens or whatever, when you're having a bad day, you think, okay, they can just go to their room and they can just turn on whatever, their phone, or take a look at their phone and look at all their social media platforms and just kind of escape that way, in a sense. But in this lifetime, you wouldn't have been able to do that. It would have been extremely unacceptable. You would have had to just be pleasant and smile no matter what. And you may have an unhealthy relationship with men. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not saying that all of you are, male in or identify as such in this reading. That may not be the case at all. What I'm getting is some of you on the flip side, though, if you are female or identify as such, you may just have you may not like being female or being super feminine, or even if you are super feminine, there might be something within you that kind of wants to rebel in your clothing or in your attitude somehow to just shock people and say that, hey, you know what, you think I'm sweet and this and that, but actually there is something, that needs to come out, something a little more fun, something a little deeper, something a little darker, and it's a part of my personality, and, I want to showcase that. I'm tired of hiding that. You may have grown up in this lifetime in a family where you were just trying to please other people, please your friends, and you really couldn't just be yourself. That could be also a part of it. But definitely you had to perform unwillingly, whether in the literal sense of performance, like in a circus or in a show. I'm thinking of the movie Moulin Rouge as well, with Nicole Kidman. And I'm drawn to tell you this. Now, this may or may not apply. Remember that in our past lives, we have had many different experiences, but I'm going to assume positive, negative, right? But I'm going to assume that if you are here today in this reading, it's because you're able to handle anything that, ooh, all right. I don't know. Is that a confirmation from the divine spirit? Did you send me an email? Thank you for the email, Spirit. I will get to later. All right. Sorry about the interruption there. So you are prepared to hear what is going to be presented to you, I hope. Okay. And if it doesn't resonate, then it doesn't resonate. Then throw it away and don't listen to the message. Okay, maybe something else about the message resonates more. But the House of the Rising Sun, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe, you can look into it a little bit more, but the House of the Rising Sun is a house in New Orleans. House of the Rising Sun. And it was, as you know, New Orleans in Louisiana was originally conquered by the French, or the French originally settled there. And so there's a lot of French influence, right? Bâton rouge, for example, means red stick. There's a reason for that, but I don't remember the reason why it's called red stick, but maybe you do. House of the Rising Sun. Okay, I forget what it. Anyway, the house was called something else, a French title, but I forget, and I'm not going to waste your time by starting to research what it was. But apparently, someone wrote that it was a brothel. And so it's very interesting because I said that you have a lot of 8th house scorpionic influences in your birth chart. Possibly let me know if that resonates, or let me know if it doesn't resonate, but you feel another aspect does. And so what I'm getting is that for some of you, now some, okay, if it resonates, great. If it does not resonate, then let it slide. But some of you were forced into prostitution. You had no choice because of your circumstance. You might have chosen it, but you know, who, at the end of the day, who really does choose to go into prostitution? I mean, it takes a certain kind of person, and most people are going to go into that industry because either they were forced to or they had no choice. Perhaps maybe in certain districts, in certain countries, in certain areas, that's not necessarily the case. Maybe so, maybe not. But certainly in the past, in your past lifetime, this was, if this resonates, this was the case for you. Now, that can be a traumatizing little bit of information. Now, remember that there's a reason for having this experience. If for whatever reason you needed to have it, this has taught you wisdom that you can now apply to this lifetime. But if you do have issues with intimacy and you're not really sure where it comes from, or you have certain experiences that possibly echo your previous life's experience, then you may want to consider that and take it into consideration. Now, again, I repeat, if you came to this video, it's because you wanted to hear this information and you're ready for it. If that doesn't apply, it could be, again, you were not necessarily in a brothel. This is a general reading. This could be that you were forced into a marriage at a very young age. And there is a lot of disclaimer. If you are, younger than 18, this is not necessarily the most appropriate thing to talk about when you're young, but in terms of your past lives, right? Not because you're not necessarily mature enough, but just because this can be, you're focusing, you're too young, you're focusing on this lifetime, and in many ways you're too young to be focusing on the unfortunate circumstances of your past. That might get a little too beguiling for you. So there's definitely issues around intimacy in the past lifetimes. Some of these, and I'm getting many lifetimes. I know that you tuned in for one. One of them in particular, the one that sticks out the most for you, is the one where you had to perform for others and you did not like that. It crushed your soul. You put on a face. You're great at putting on a face, but it crushed your soul. And you may have an interesting North Node as well. Take a look at it. Take a look at if it's in Aries, or if it's in or if there are any other placements in your chart that might indicate that you want more independence in your life in general. But you may have come back here to work out some of those issues where maybe you've had negative interactions with people and were forced into certain, intimate and otherwise unfortunate connections with people that you did not want. And now in this lifetime, you may have certain trust issues with others where you are being encouraged to connect with people that are good for you. And that's an issue because every bit of your soul and body just wants to run away and do the exact opposite of what you were forced to do in the past. But this lifetime may be saying, nah, all right, here's the caveat. You're very strong. And we know that you had this hard time in the past lifetime forcing to be something that you weren't for somebody else. But in this lifetime, you are going to have to repeat and some of the aspects of your past lifetime, but in a positive direction. So yes, having intimate connections with others, in a, perhaps you need to find your marriage, maybe finding your marriage partner is a part of this lifetime, but that could be an issue because maybe you idealize a perfect person in your head, but you don't want to go after that because that idea doesn't exist. So it's about being realistic with your expectations, but it's also perhaps about being a little bit more grounded and healthy in your approach with others. For many of you in some of your past lifetimes, you were not well off, and that lack of fortune or lack of financial grounding just kept you in a constant state of dependency on others and survival. So your lifetime right now might be about building your own business or making your own money and setting down a firmer foundation. It can also be about simply going after your passions without being forced to do so, because you're very talented and you're very artistic, and it would be a shame to just run away from it all completely. It's unfortunate because people abused you for the talents and the gifts that you brought to this world, and you're still dealing in many ways with a kind of PTSD from your past lifetime. So if you have a lot of issues with mental health and anxiety, that kind of thing, this could stem from PTSD, with just that soul memory of the past. Now, in order to get out of that, I recommend mindfulness, I recommend breathing, I recommend connecting with nature, I recommend looking and seeking out, looking for good people who make you feel good about yourself, who give you back positivity and love. I'm going to just swap out this incense for another one. Oh, man. I just burnt my finger again. Ugh. I am a paradox, and perhaps you are too. I can be quite, I did ballet for a number of years, but then I can't get this incense thing out, and I don't want to touch it because it burnt my finger, so I'm just going to leave it like, why? Anyway, so I'm constantly dropping things and burning myself apparently on the incense the second time that happened, so I got to be careful with that. But yeah. So, in your case, you might feel like you're sort of in and out in this world and out in the sense that you're mentally not always there, right? You may not always be present in the moment. And a part of you is very much of a loner and just wants to escape from others. But that is not your path. Your path this lifetime is about making those connections. It's just that in the past, you had to perform, whether you were in a circus. I'm feeling that a lot of people here were indeed forced to perform in a circus. Either you had some kind of deformity and you were kind of put in a freak show, or you were an acrobat, but you had some interesting role where people were just flocking to you and interested and wanted to see who you were. And you had to be, a face for other people, but inside that just sort of killed you, right? This could be the same, especially if you're a very independent woman or man. in this lifetime, you may have had a past lifetime where I'm seeing for some of you, you were, I see you playing the piano in this beautiful dress, in this beautiful home. Very, very, I don't know, I just see a very controlling mother in particular, very controlling, very by the book, very, my daughter needs to get married by a certain age. We must invite the suitors over. Please, dear, serve them tea, play piano, be kind, smile, be sweet. And this was not you at the end of the day. And you just, you felt, you just felt like a commodity. It was so humiliating for you. I'm just tuning into the emotion, just such a degrading experience to have to sit there and smile at everyone when you just wanted to run around and be free and be wild, and that wasn't acceptable at the time, for a young lady of your class and all of that. And then the other thing is that some of you were very much, unfortunately, you were forced into the sex trade as a prostitute. And then, of course, you're going to have to be a certain way for everyone coming to see you. But like I said, whatever you had to do in that past lifetime could have been one of these three options, could have been a combination, and it could have also implied other things. Always use your intuition first, but these are the three main images that I get coming through for you guys, where you had to perform for others and you couldn't just really exist for yourself. Imagine that a whole lifetime where you're just purely existing for others. It's very lonely, it's very isolating. And in this lifetime, you're encouraged to find out how you can express yourself in healthy ways, and just be who you dream of being, who you know who you are deep down. All right, that's going to take practice. We could do other videos on that one, but that is your reading so far. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next. See you later. Okay, number 2. Hello, number 2. We have Vivaldi, Winter, number 2. Ooh, you had a very intense career in your past lifetime. I see you, whether you're female or male, and you identify as male, female, etc. It doesn't really matter, how you identify yourself in this lifetime. In your past lifetime, you're very much a male, and you're very much a businessman, and you're very much always on the go. And you may have tried to start a business in this lifetime without too much success, because it's almost like your life path is trying to take you in another direction. You're fiercely independent in this past lifetime. You were always on the go. It was always about the dollar. It was always about time. You didn't have time to make connections with other people. In fact, in many ways, you just didn't see the point. Now, we all have more than one lifetime that we've lived, but this is the lifetime that's coming up right now as you're tuning into this video, to this reading. For whatever reason, there's a message from this lifetime that needs to be channeled through to you. So if you are, you have brilliant ideas, and you're very smart, and you're very structured, and you know how to run things smoothly, but you may find that every time you try to do things on your own, life is trying to get you to work with others in partnership, and you might get frustrated with this process because perhaps other people aren't as fast as you, aren't as forward thinking. Remember, for you, I think this saying is in particular very important for you right now at this point of your life. There is no I in team. I know that's kind of a lame one to mention, but it needs mentioning, because your life path may have something to do with Libra or the 7th house. Your North Node may be in Libra in the 7th house, or it could also be in the 11th house or in the house of Aquarius, but in particular in the 11th house. which is all about other people. The seventh house or Libra is that one-on-one interaction with someone, possibly in partnerships. But I see you, as far as being successful in this lifetime, I see you needing to work with a lot of other people. A lot of other people, and working in partnership and cooperation. These are all skills that you need to learn. Now, I know and I feel you, because I personally prefer working by myself. And that doesn't mean that you always have to work with other people, but there could be certain circumstances where you're going to have you're going to derive more success if you do work with others. Now, in this past lifetime, you just didn't have time to tune into your emotions. So you may also find that your North Node is sitting somewhere in Cancer, or perhaps in Pisces, something a little bit more flowing, something more watery, more emotional, where you need to learn how to express your emotions, how to go with the flow, and how to get a little bit away from the madness and the structure. I just see you rushing about. You're just very isolated, but kind of lonely at the same time. Like deep down, you are yearning for connection. I see something about a lover or a loved one, a love that could never be. There was someone perhaps from another class system, maybe one that was lower than yours, and you could just never be with this person. Could be higher as well, but I'm seeing for most of you, this person was not accepted by your family, and so you just decided that if you can't have the person that you love, then it's just going to all be about work, and that's what you did. Nose to the grindstone. You worked and you made a lot of money, and you created a wealthy estate for yourself, but you didn't have anyone to share that with. So in your later days, there was a loneliness to you having all of this space, and you started to reminisce a lot in your older years. In your old age, you started to reminisce about this love that, could never be because of circumstance. And on your deathbed, this is pretty intense, but on your deathbed, you asked to be given a second chance sometime. Those are kind of your words of just wanting to do a do-over and make the right decisions and choose love this time and be free to choose, the things that you would have wanted. It's interesting because I see you as a little boy being very free, I don't know why the horses comes up. Are you interested in horses now? If that doesn't resonate, I don't know why I got the image of horses and the word horse, but hey, crazier things have happened. So if it doesn't resonate, shoot it out the window. But I see horses. You're interested in horses. You're interested in cars and horses, buggies maybe. Maybe you really like cars in this lifetime. That could be a possibility too. But you just liked you were like a real, I was gonna say you're a real boy. You like to, you like to walk around. You like to walk around in, nature and discover things and insects and talk to your friends and, just run around and do all the things that boys like to do. But you are also very sensitive to animals. You loved animals, and you fell in love. But like I said, that couldn't be. So it hardened you, and you just turned into something that you ultimately were not. And you were able to escape into that life for a long, long time. You didn't think about anything but just working and making money. And that was fine for you. And that worked. That really, really worked. You were able to escape in, just different luxuries and pleasures that you were able to afford for yourself. But, you weren't able to really experience true intimacy with another person. And it's almost like all of I guess you can say that you were kind of promiscuous in this past lifetime as well. And all of the women that you engaged with, none of them did it for you. You kept thinking about this first love. So in this lifetime, you are being encouraged to choose your rightful person. That you have that choice. If you allow somebody else to make a choice for you, that might not go in your favor. I'm getting really that you have to choose. Even if someone tries to set you on a blind date or anything like that, it's almost like, I don't know if that's the right approach. You can try it out, but I don't know if that would be the right approach. Now, if you're already in a relationship and you feel that this is the person, this could be your first love from the last, lifetime. If you don't feel that this is the person, then that's just that's just going to reflect your mentality and where you're at. And you can certainly watch one of my love videos for the pick a card love readings. But other than that, that's, I'm not going to necessarily get into that, but just you're supposed to choose your loved one. So if you chose your loved one, the person to spend time with you, to be by your side, then then you can be certain that the person that you chose, or that you really choose, comes out of a careful decision, and this person is that one that, from this last lifetime that you were not able to be with. You get a second chance. So you're getting your wish of the second chance, but you're forgetting certain aspects of who you were. And sometimes you get too busy, and sometimes you feel guilty for not doing enough. This also comes from that lifetime of being this, businessman and just walking around. Now, as far as the time period is concerned, because you picked Vivaldi in winter, I just see someone 1700s France, but that's not necessarily the case if you don't resonate with that, okay, as this is a general reading. But yeah, so you may bring aspects of that into this lifetime where you're just too busy and you can make time. So you need to take a break. You don't need to do all of those things that you've put on your to-do list. Be a little bit more realistic with yourself, be a little bit more compassionate with yourself, and learn to do more of the things that you really, really love and that you really, really want to do in this lifetime. All right? It's like the bird is being let out of the cage. You are being let out of the cage. It is up to you whether you want to exit the cage or stay inside. But if you choose to stay inside the cage because it's your comfort zone and you're afraid of what's on the outside, then know that it was your choice. And all of the consequences of staying in a cage are also because you were just maybe not ready. No judgment, but what I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to do is, empower you and say, you are the sole person responsible for getting out of that cage. And you can. The door is open. It's not locked. You're just so used to it being locked, in a way. Metaphorically speaking, right? All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next video. See you later. All right, number 3, Gotta Get Up. Great song. Great show. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. If you have seen the show, you can just comment down below and we can just connect on how much we both love the show together. So let's tune into who you were in this past lifetime that is coming up. Wow. Okay, I'm getting interesting images. I'm getting like a stage director for some, a teacher for others, someone that definitely was a leader in some kind of a group capacity where you worked with large numbers of people in your past lifetime, always directing. You may be doing a very similar thing in this lifetime, so that talent of being a good leader is carried through in this lifetime. Although sometimes you may feel stumped, like you try to guide the group, but it doesn't quite work the same way as it did in your last lifetime where it was so fluid and effortless. You may come across more contradictory types of ideas, that contradict your own contrary type of people, opposing and difficult personalities that challenge you a little bit more than in the past. And don't worry about this. This is all just to teach you another level of leadership, just to bring your leadership up a notch. This is the lesson to teach you patience when dealing with all kinds of people. But some of you were clergymen, some of you were priests, some of you, guided others in a religious sort of aspect. You're certainly a morning person, always up at the crack of dawn. Very routine-like day you used to have. You may like routine, or you may find it difficult to get out of your routine, but you are certainly a leader of some large group in some capacity, and you have a voice. You had a voice that can command attention. All right. A lot of people might naturally, strangers you might find in this lifetime, just ask you for directions or things to explain. You might find that people come to you to help guide them and explain what to do. You just have this aura of knowing. You just have this aura about you that you know what the heck you're doing. And then people feel that, and they are inclined to just go up to you, and they think you're going to have the answers. Which a lot of times you do, but not necessarily always, right? We're human, but yeah, you really do know your stuff in many ways. But it's also just the way you come across. So in this lifetime, in this past lifetime, this group is very varied, as there's all kinds of different leaders in all kinds of different situations. I'm seeing a good percentage of you, maybe like 20% were in some kind of a religious setting, where you're directing people in perhaps a church or another situation, maybe a monastery where you're the head. I don't know. You're the head of something, and you are very powerful, and you have a very, very powerful voice. But this lifetime is getting you to go away from that structure that you had. You had a very specific message, a very specific purpose in your last lifetime. In many ways, this lifetime is just a prolongation of that last lifetime, where you're still going to be a leader. You're still going to direct other people, but now you have to work on a little bit more patience, because there will be people who will challenge you a little bit more, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be challenged, because it helps us to grow. If we don't have someone challenging us, then things get kind of boring, wouldn't you say? I'm going to just change the incense here. Come on, buddy. Okay. If you, the incense sticks got stuck in the elephant's trunk. Oh. Anyhow, all right. I'll just figure this out on my own. Stop making a ruckus here. But yeah, speaking of ruckus, I mean, I can't get it out right now. All right. I don't know. The universe doesn't want me to have smoke at this moment, I suppose. You remember a lot of aspects of your own past lives. You're just coming here for a little bit more confirmation. But yeah, you are definitely a leader. You are definitely someone that stands out in a crowd. You just can't help it yourself. You can dress all black and put a hoodie on, and people will still notice you. You cannot escape, and you cannot escape yourself. And that might sound a little harsh, especially if you're a very sensitive, even psychic person. I'm getting for many of you here. You're going to naturally pick up on everybody else's energies. And sometimes that gets, frankly, fairly exhausting. So it's very important for you to ground, spend time in nature, meditate, just connect with the earth, right? Very important for you. But yeah, you were a leader. You still are a leader. You could have been in a church. You could have been in, a teacher in a different kind of organization, but you definitely worked in an organization. Now you're being asked to be a leader in more of an unconventional way, which is scary for you. It's like you look for leadership roles in conventional places, but you can't seem to find them as successfully as you did in your past lifetime is that structure is easy, that structure is comforting, but you're needing to now be a leader in a more unconventional way. So you have a message to raise. You might consider starting a blog or writing, a book and seeing where that kicks off. But your message is unconventional. It's almost like in the past, especially if you're very spiritual and you had to, let's say you were a priest and you can only talk about certain things. Maybe you're more spiritual than the rest of the people in the community, and you would have wanted to talk about maybe past lives, which would have been sort of blasphemous, right? You would have wanted to talk about the energies that you feel in nature, but people would have thought that you were possessed by the devil, or that, what are you talking about? You feel energy. What are you talking about? You have a vision, any sort of gifts, any way that human beings were empowered in a magical sense was a big threat to everybody else. And this was considered sort of dangerous to talk about out loud. You could not talk about these things out loud. So I feel that very much in this lifetime, not only are you getting away from the structure of the past lifetime, but you're encouraged to open up and share a new type of message. And this is the lifetime to do it. Especially if you live in a community, in a place that's more accepting and tolerable to these kinds of, open-minded to these kinds of ideas. But yes, your message is to share your thoughts, your unconventional thoughts, and to structure, instead of your environment in your day, structure your message so that the message is heard. That is the most important thing. The way you live your life is important, but it doesn't really matter if you wake up at 5 and you eat breakfast at a certain time, and then you do meditation, and then you do don't worry so much about trying to structure every single point of your day. This doesn't make someone more successful than someone else. For someone who needs a lot of structure like that, sure, but you are encouraged to go away from the structure of waking up, doing a certain thing at a certain time. You can sleep in a little bit, this group, okay? You guys can relax a little, because this lifetime is literally more about going with the flow, being a leader, not so much for the way you live your life in a particularly structured way, but for the words and the structured and well thought out, well planned message that you have to share. That is what is more important. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next video. Okay, number 4. Koshi bells. Monk. I'm getting right away. You're either monk, you are a, I don't know why the word nurse comes up. So random, but you might have been a nurse, and fairly religious or spiritual nurse, very psychically inclined as well, and you chose to take care of others as a sort of mission, a godly, divine mission, if you will. So your past lifetime, you may have been a nurse, and you may have chosen to be a nurse for very spiritual purposes, just like your morals, that reflect your morals and your values and your lifestyle. The first thing that I saw was a monk. So many of you in this group, many of you were monks in a monastery. I'm hearing a monastery in more an Eastern Asian country, like for instance in Tibet, or even in China, or Cambodia. Does that ring a bell? If it rings a bell, great. If it doesn't, then whoop, throw it out the window. But yeah, you are a very, very spiritual person. You may be very drawn to going to certain places like yoga camps or certain spiritual circles and new agey groups. You're very into sort of new age spiritual concepts. And that's because you're an old soul, yes. You've lived a long time on this earth. Some of you may come from other places, but not necessarily everyone in this group. What I'm getting for the most part is that there are quite a number of you who have had a varied bunch of past lifetime experiences in general, ranging from getting to lead very spiritual lives to not being able to express your spirituality to being feared for your spirituality, okay? Possibly a lot of, past lives as witches and shamans or shamankas. Shamanka's the female version of shaman. It comes from Russia, the word shaman, by the way. And so we have different terms in different cultures, but that's the most popular one that we know. But yes, you were some kind of medicine person. You were some kind of spiritual person, and you had these in-between lives where you weren't able to be as spiritual, but you always remembered your roots. You had certain, it's very interesting, put on holds. Like if in that lifetime you press the pause button, you say, okay, no more spirituality in this lifetime. I just need to focus on physical matters. And it's almost like you needed that. Like you have a hard time juggling both, or you had a hard time juggling both in the past. It was either all spiritual or all physical, and it couldn't be one or the other. You came to each life with the purpose of experiencing a very specific set of requirements in order to gain certain wisdom and attributes within your soul pattern. Now, in this lifetime, it's very interesting because you're actually asked to build a more balanced life. You're actually asked to experience physical abundance as well as spiritual abundance. You're asked to simultaneously develop your spirituality and your physicality in your environment, taking care of practical matters, and yet at the same time taking care of your spiritual needs. Now, this is easier said than done, actually, because a lot of people in the physical world, when you really start to interact with people and get involved in your day-to-day activities, they won't necessarily understand if, okay, you would rather spend an afternoon to yourself meditating or praying or whatever it is. And so you may come across disappointments in certain relationships and misunderstandings with other people. You're not doing anything wrong. Okay, I want you to get that out of your head. It has nothing to do with doing anything wrong per se. It's an experience. You're not being punished. You're having an experience, and you're trying to figure out that experience. You're trying to figure it out. So you're trying to figure out, how do I have these healthy relationships with others while also nurturing my spiritual side of myself? And so this tricky balance is something that you are working on, and that you will get better at as you go along. But yes, you're still going to make little mistakes here and there. That's also part of your contract. Your soul contract is to, just to try it out. It's like, think of this life as school. Okay, you've graduated certain levels. Think of it this way. Okay, you have, let's say, graduated from college, university, you did your bachelor degree, and now you want to get into a master's, and so you need to go back to school. You're at the next level, and so in a way, maybe you're working a number of years, and then so in a way it's kind of more difficult and more challenging. So just because you're further along, quote unquote further along, right? Because it's not really a question of quantity, it's about quality. Some people just need to have a certain number of lifetimes to understand a lesson, and other people need a lot of lifetimes to understand a lesson. So it's not really about judgment either. It's about the experiences that you want to live. All right, for whatever reason, each person's lessons and experiences are going to be unique to them. So for you, it's really about here, yes, okay, the master's thing. Let's say you're in a master's level right now. You got to go back to school. Okay, it's fine. No worries. You are going to get a little bit more work because now you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do both, right? How do I do both spiritual and mental, emotional, physical realm at the same time? This is tricky. This is tough. Not everyone understands. I'm coming into clashes. Both of my worlds are coming into clashes with each other. But this, so I know I've talked a lot about this lifetime, and I'm trying to do more of a tie-in of how your past lifetime affects this one. But definitely, you know, I see you very, very spiritual, very devoted, very focused. You're able to achieve a lot of Zen-like states, and much of your life was spent in this sort of very thoughtful, reflective approach to everything that came about. So, yeah, you you need to learn how to balance that out now. You know, how you do that, I recommend even setting a schedule for yourself, saying, okay, block off the times when you do meditate, block off the times when, okay, now in your day you spend with others. The hard thing, I think, for you is finding that there's a certain feeling of loneliness and spiritual isolation when you're communicating and interacting with other people because they just don't get the world that you come from. And you have to remember, you have to have patience with others and understand that it's not their fault. They just didn't choose to have the same experiences as you. But they also come with many experiences that they can teach you about. All right, they come with their own unique set of challenges and experiences and wisdom. So it's all about a learning process, learning from each other, learning from one another, right? And a very old wise soul can learn brand new information and a brand new set of wisdom from a baby soul. So it's, again, not about quantity, it's about quality. And I think that this lifetime, you're going to find a way to make a very quality filled lifetime. I would recommend, if you don't have a garden, to consider growing one. I think nature is the perfect intersection between the spirit world and the physical because, well, if you ask me, I have a lot of kooky ideas about it, but I think plants and trees are very high dimensional beings, and they are always in a sort of a Zen state. So if you spend a lot of time in nature, you're also spending a lot of time in that Zen spiritual expression while also connecting to the earth. So there's a really beautiful balance that happens when you're around nature. So I would recommend spending a lot of time in nature to relax, to unwind, to ground your energy as well, because dealing with both at the same time is not always easy. Especially, I just want to point this out. I wasn't going to. Look, guys, I might have just seen something in the corner of my eye, and it may have been my imagination, but when I quickly, you know, glanced over in front of me, I just saw like something come into the scene here, like a hand, but then I didn't see anything. So I could be tired, to be fair. I could be just imagining things, but I could have seen something. And I did have a few weird experiences already in this new apartment. So what I'm going to say to you is part of the reason that it's difficult to mix both spiritual and physical in this lifetime is because you'll see things that other people won't, and you'll hear things that other people won't. And so the hard part is not being able to share these things with others as well, especially if they don't understand. You don't want to freak them out. You don't want to give them the wrong impression. So it's probably wise that unless you don't feel that you fall in line with any, mental health issues that you would need to see a psychiatrist for, if that is not the case for you, then it's probably not always wise to share, the visions that you have with people around you. You don't have to have a connection with everyone in the same way. You don't have to share every single deep part of yourself in order to enjoy a friendship or relationship. You can keep the deeper parts of yourself very much to you as a personal experience that you experience, not alone, but with a higher power, with a higher source, which will share that connection with you. You can strengthen that connection. And then you have time to take a break from that heavy, intense spiritual interaction with others in a more laid back and casual way without having to go too in depth into things. So your lifetime is being called you're being called in this lifetime to experience that balance, right? In the past, you were very, very spiritual, a monk, even a nurse, even a nun, someone who lived in a community perhaps, but in a community of like-minded people who perhaps all took a vow of silence, and so you developed a certain level of telepathy and spiritual connection with the other people in the group. This is very different now. This kind of interaction that you have with others is very different, and in many ways it might seem foreign to you, but it's just about learning how to balance both physical and spiritual in this lifetime for you. All right. I really enjoyed doing your reading. Thank you so much for coming to see this video today. I really appreciate your support, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next video. See you soon. All right, so we have group number 5 with the throat singing. When I saw this video, I loved it. I fell in love with it. It's very beautiful. So without further ado, it's not surprising that you might want to take a look at the last reading, number 4, with the Koshi bells, if that calls to you, but any other number of readings might call to you more or not. This particular lifetime that is coming up, you were definitely a Native American, specifically. There's like a very small percentage of you who are tuning in where you were in ancient Egypt, I see. You might have been in ancient Egypt in one lifetime and a Native American in another lifetime. But for most of you, this is purely a concentration on being a First Nations person in your past lifetime. So you had this just, I feel like I'm at home. Like you have a yearning for this lifetime. It just felt, it was just like, I'm getting chills. It was just the most beautiful community. Everybody sort of understood each other. Very nature-based religion. Very connected with the spirits, with the plants. You respected hard work as well, but everybody worked together, and it was just this beautiful symbiotic type of energy here where everyone is in tune with one another and aligned. It's just, you may have a very strong yearning for this kind of community and this kind of connection. And I'm getting a lot of people that were in this past lifetime with you as a Native American, First Nations person. Could be Inuit, could be any other tribe that calls to you. Pardon me, I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but yeah, you had this, it was a beautiful type of community. And it's frustrating for you because in this lifetime you find that you can't really create that community. Like, people are so stubborn and they want to be so selfish and do things their own way. This lifetime is difficult for you because it's teaching you that you are supposed to stand more independent and alone. Not alone like you're by yourself, but alone and just pioneering your own ideas and going forward towards what you want without having that support of the group. You don't necessarily have the support of the group in this lifetime as you have had it in this previous lifetime in particular, which was really beautiful. Like, there's just beautiful energy. So what I'm getting is, whenever you do feel alone, you can connect with your soul tribe from that past lifetime. You'll have possibly met some of the people who have experienced this lifetime with you. Could be a sibling who has also, you feel particularly drawn to and close with. Otherwise, you're going to meet your soul family. It's interesting because everyone in that group in your past lifetime, they all have a similar life path where you guys all chose in that lifetime to come together and to experience this beautiful unity. But in this lifetime, you guys have all made a contract to meet each other at different intervals in your life, in your lives, in more of a casual way for the most part, or temporary sort of fleeting way, where people coming into your lifetime and then coming into your life and then leaving your life, not too shortly, not too much after that. Sorry, I can't vocalize today. But yes, you are all experience, everyone person in your soul tribe who shared this lifetime as a Native American with you. Every single person in that tribe has decided to go out on their own and experience in different ways what it means to sort of not necessarily have a community to fall back on and be more independent, which is difficult, but there's beauty in that, because at the end of it, you are going to each and every one of you, everything you're doing is kind of linked. You can feel your soul tribe around you, even if they're not here, and you're always connected. This is your true family in a way, your real deep, the family that you yearn for. They are always with you. They share certain aspects of your soul. They share connections with you. You have ties to these people and these beings across dimensions and across lifetimes and across, different paradigms and realities and cultures and races. You're all very connected to one another, no matter where in the world each and every one of you is. So if you're feeling a certain way, sometimes you don't know where that comes from, and you get a particular image in your mind. This may come from just a projection of someone from your soul tribe who lived this past lifetime with you. They're just sending out a signal of perhaps distress. So in response, you can just send healing vibes back, and this will help that person in their lifetime, in their predicament. You can do the same thing. That's so beautiful. If you're feeling alone, you can do the same thing when you're feeling a little low. You can just send out how you feel to your soul tribe, and you will see that they will respond back with some nice waves of relaxation, comfort, healing, and love and compassion and solidarity. You will meet beautiful people. On that token, you're going to meet the most magnificently beautiful people in this lifetime that will teach you the most amazing, awe-inspiring things, and you're going to become very wise. This lifetime is preparing you to become very strong and very wise, and to not be so focused on one group of people, but just to be open to meeting all kinds of different people that are coming your way. Because through meeting different people, each one of these different people in your lifetime now is going to give you little clues of where to go, for the next step, the next move. And you know, it's very interesting, and I don't usually interject in readings, and in the sense of saying, oh yeah, I think, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't know. It's just strange to me because you, I feel that I share this lifetime with many of you in this reading. Now, not all of you come from the same soul tribe in this particular reading, right? You come from a soul tribe that may be different to one another, but you all had a similar experience of community as a Native American. So I don't necessarily feel that people in this group were necessarily all have soul connections, soul tribe connections with one another. I do think that some of you do. Some of you listening in collectively are part of the same soul tribe. Yes, I feel that very strongly. I also feel very strongly, interestingly enough, that I share, if this resonates with you, let me know, but I feel like that we are a part of the same soul tribe, and that we both, some of you I live the same, okay, how do I put this? So for the people who feel that for the people who are connected to others in this video as having shared a similar experience in this lifetime, I am also part of that community. So I also came into that community with you. So I can relate to just feeling like, okay, people coming in and out of your life, you need to learn how to make connections, but the depth and the continuality of the persistence of the same type of connection with someone in the same lifetime is going to be less frequent for us, and we don't necessarily have that full-on community, at least in our everyday lives, right? Maybe online it's a little different, but even online it's a little bit more intangible, to be fair, right? If we're going to be completely honest, the online community is something more intangible than it would be in real life. And it's meant to be that way because we're meant to move around. We're meant to connect. We're not meant to be stuck in one location or with one group of people. You are meant in this lifetime, if you are part of this community, whether we share the same community experience or not, you are meant to find your own path, chart your own spiritual journey, and make connections with people from all over the world, carrying ideas, messages, wisdom, sharing knowledge, and every single person that you come across who shares a certain connection with you will have important information to propel you further along on your own spiritual journey. Ooh, so I loved that reading. That was very interesting because I didn't know that I was going to be involved somehow in the reading myself. I was interesting to connect with you guys in this one. So anyway, let me know what you think. I love doing this video. I look forward to doing another one for you, and I wish you a wonderful day or evening, whatever it is for you. All right. See you later. Or feel you later. Okay, number 6. Cirque du Soleil, Verakai. All right, now, buckle your seatbelts, boys and girls, because this is gonna be an interesting one. You have come a very long ways away to be here, haven't you? Yes, most people in this group are either star seeds. If you're not aware of the concept of what it means to be a star seed, you can look it up online, do a quick search. You can also take a look at my star seed video. I will do another one because I only put 3 options there, but if that video calls to you, you're more than welcome to check it out. This group, not only star seeds, but a lot of you are from the angelic realm. Angelic realm, fairy realm, earth angels, light workers, indigos, crystals. This is the super spiritual psychic kids group here. Welcome, welcome, psychic kids. So you are indeed very psychic. What do I have to say? I mean, in this past life, there's so many different kinds of lifetimes that are coming up for you guys, but many of you have, when I think of your past life, I'm thinking of not from this earthly plane, all right? If that's crazy and a little far-fetched for you and you don't resonate with the message, by all means, you can choose a different video or choice, you know, whatever you feel called to. But what I'm getting is that, yeah, you are like very high frequency, like holy moly high frequency. And you come from communities in the spiritual realm where you are really a lot lighter, less denser than you are now. So just the very physicality of being here can be very overwhelming for you. Lots of you in this group may have just different issues with, you know, sensory perception of sound, of light. All of this may seem more intense for you, okay? You may feel like you came here with a knowing, with a mission. You may feel like you're an alien. You may feel like you're different than everybody else and you can't relate, all right? This is because you are different from everybody else. And this lifetime is to teach you, number 1, how to learn from the humans. I feel like an anthropologist looking over with my binoculars over a bush. Now, as we can see here, the earthly humans, as they go about their day to the grocery store. This is where they get their food and their milk. Anyway, so that's that. Yes, observe the humans, right? So we have to learn how to get along with these strange beings in these, you know, in these weird bodies, and learn from them. Learn that they have wisdom that you do not have. That they can be a teacher where many of you are merely just students. And vice versa. There is a give and take. You will eventually share your message and your mission and your purpose to the world, which can be as varied as possible. I mean, some of you come from the angelic realm and you're drawn into the, you know, maybe you want to become an acupuncturist in this lifetime, or you want to become a nurse practitioner, you know, if you're an angel or if you have an angelic soul, you're definitely interested in going into the service industry for sure. You know, if you're an elemental, that could be the same, or you can have more of an interest about the environment and saving the environment and animals and communicating with animals, if you've seen some of my videos. And I said that you were an animal communicator. Well, guess what? You're also an animal communicator in this group, in particular if you come from the fairy realm. Now, if I say fairy realm, what do you feel in your body? Does it feel like right, like something clicks, or do you feel like, oh, that's interesting, but I feel more drawn to another realm? Now let me say that you can be from many, right? It's not just one or the other, but whatever you feel most drawn to. If you're a star seed, I'm bringing up some stereotypes here, so that's just, fair warning. If you're a star seed, maybe you're very into technology, maybe you're very into creating something or working for an organization that has a great product, all right? You want to facilitate people's lives through technology, which is where our world is heading. Now, there are all kinds of star seeds. You could just be a star seed from, for instance, Mintaka, which was a water planet, and your prime interest in this lifetime is to, help the marine life. Maybe you're interested in marine biology or aquatic life. So there could be so many things depending on where you came from. And since this is such a varied group where people are angels and star seeds and, fairies and all kinds of things like that, your mission in this life, so I want you to look for clues to what you're drawn to. Okay, look for clues. I'll give you an example of what I mean for clues. Clues in your environment, okay? Some of the things that people gift me or that I'm drawn to are very reflective of who I am. And spirit talks to me a lot of times through other people, whether they're words or, things maybe that they're wearing or that they give me. For example, my mom gave me this card. This is a beautiful card from Ireland. If you have never been, I recommend one day going to Ireland. It is absolutely beautiful, but maybe I've had a few past lifetimes there, because I feel very drawn to Ireland. I feel very drawn to fairies, to elementals, that whole culture. And so interestingly, my environment also reflects, I feel, who I was in a past lifetime. Not unlike yourself, okay? I have a mermaid in the background. I have, this, I don't know, thing here that might indicate that, okay, Sioux prayer, I could have been a native in a past lifetime, and Native American, and I really do resonate very highly with that. So look at the objects, the things in your environment to give you clues on where you come from. I think you guys are gonna like this. It's so adorable. My husband gave me a Polly Pocket for Christmas. And if you take a look here, there's space, right? And I feel very much that I was a star seed, so, or am, whatever. And it's interesting that he associates me with things like space and the like. All right, so look at these environmental clues to know where you might have come from, what realm. This will give you more indication. Then I advise you to do meditations, to connect with your own intuition, to dig in from there. And I even encourage you to do some research. Think of the images that pop up in your mind and go ahead and do some research about it and see what resonates, see what you're drawn towards, right? So this is a beautiful group. You guys are coming in as light workers with a very important message to heal the world in different, each and every one of you has different specific missions. And this mission is going to depend on your interests. It's going to depend on your talents, even your weaknesses, because your biggest challenge, I stand by this, your biggest challenge with care can become your biggest strength, right? It seems like hell, doesn't it? Sometimes being here, it's like, oh, I came from such a free, beautiful place. Remember, you came here for a reason. You chose to come here for a reason. You came here to learn. You knew it wouldn't be easy. You knew it would be tough, but you knew that there was something important that you needed to do, something important that you needed to share with others, and you knew that, hey, on the plus side, the earth Earth ain't so bad. There's a lot of beauty to it, right? There's a lot of beauty to the world. And once you really start to connect with others and their stories and understand what human beings are about, all their good and their bad points, you realize that, it's not about judgment anymore so much as how do you judge yourself in relation to how you get along in your day-to-day. And judgment of others may represent more so an insecurity with the fact that other people have judged you for being different. And I totally get that. I totally get that. No pun intended. No judgment from me here. And even if you do have those moments, just remember where it comes from. It's important to remember where that feeling, where that judgment comes from. And that at the end of the day, it's really more about how you feel about yourself. You may lack some coordination. You may not always know what to say, what to do in the right scenario, the right situation, but that's okay. Hey, it's all right. You will figure it out as you move along. And you're going to bring a lot of awesome, quirky, fun-filled, healing, higher frequency vibes to the table. And most people are going to really appreciate what you do bring. The people that don't appreciate it, they're not worth your time. So as I used to say in the 90s when I was in grade 4, talk to the hand because the face don't wanna. And that's kind of how you have to treat those those crazy people with the pickles up their rear ends, as my mother likes to say about people who take themselves too seriously. They've got pickles up their rear ends. All right, remember that for a good chuckle when you get offended by someone. It's their problem. It's their problem. It's their discomfort. It's their awkwardness, actually. They just don't know how to deal with themselves. So they have to impose certain emotions and reactions onto other people. Right? Oh, the things we do to get rid of the hot potato in our hands. The things we do to get rid of that hot potato. We will throw the hot potato at somebody else rather than hold it and figure out, how to deal with it ourselves. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, my friends. Keep that in mind, my very highly frequency, super sugary energy, hyperactive, crazy, insane. I don't even know how to finish that sentence. You guys are just super intense and amazingly magical and psychic. And you come here with all sorts of important plans and missions. Follow through. Watch, remain, make sure to remain humble and grounded. The humans, they bring us lots of teachings. You can learn from them. Don't look down at them. And if they look down at you, exactly. That's their problem, right? Yes, I just farted with my mouth, if you must know. I welcome you to fart, literally at the people who are making, giving you a hard time, because that's the reaction that they deserve. That's the reaction that they deserve. And you need to learn how to breathe in, breathe out, spend time in nature, ground your energy. Your energy is so high vibrational that you need to ground. Take good naps, ground in nature, take it easy, connect with the earth, because it will actually help you feel more calm. And again, nature. There's a reason that I always try to have plants in my readings, because I believe that each plant is a living being, and they bring a lot of healing to us. I think nature is important for everyone, but it is essential for people who are high frequency like you to spend time in nature. Plants and trees are just like literally calling out for your energy. They love your energy too. Don't get it twisted. They love your energy. And if you spend time around nature, you're going to feel the grounding and the healing that they want to give you in exchange to thank you for the energy that you have to share. So it's a give and take. All right? You're going to be fine. Don't worry about everybody. Laugh at your silliness. Don't take yourself too seriously. It's all going to be okay. You make a mistake, that's what you came here for. What did you think? It was going to be perfect? You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make more. It's okay. Just breathe in, out, and remember, spend time in nature. That's my advice to you. I know this is more about your lifetime, your past lifetime, but since it's such a varied group, it's really hard to talk about one over another. But yeah, you have a very interesting backstory. You're a very new sort of soul on this planet as well. Not that you yourself are a new soul. You could be a very old ancient soul, but on Earth, you're a fairly new soul. And so you still have a lot to learn from others. And that's okay, because they have a lot to learn from you too. All right. All right, beautiful souls in this group. I hope that you enjoyed the reading, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next video. I will connect with you soon.